The little thing's now just
Fantastic.
gone live in the corner.
Yes, it just went ding.
It
Ding.
went
We haven't got anyone watching yet, but
That's fine. We're gonna slag.
I'm
Should we
sure
slag
that's
everybody
fine.
off in
So,
the
come
first
on.
couple of seconds?
Yeah, come on. What are you doing? Where are you? What are you doing? I'm gonna post the link. Post the link to Twitter. Just to get things going.
Rally the troops.
Yeah, of course. Going. It should be it. Nope, that's not it. Where's the? You posted the link, didn't you?
I've got a little link for it. Yeah.
You've got a little link.
I've got a little link.
Where do I get the little link?
Oh, hang on. It might actually not be a little link. Yeah, it is the little link. I don't want to put it into the search bar in case it comes up, but I'll send it to you now.
Okay.
There's the little link.
Where did you send it to?
I sent it to you on Facebook.
Oh, right, okay. Good start this.
It's a good start, yeah. It's all Doctor Who related.
It's loading. Slowly but surely. Oh, yeah, I see. Apparently Peter Capaldi wants the middle eight back in
the Doctor Who thing.
In the Doctor Who thing, yeah. He said on Radio 2. I've not listened to it yet, but
there is a middle eight for
agree.
the current theme, isn't there?
Yeah, they just never use it for some weird reason.
So you must know there is one that like exists.
Yeah, perhaps he might have even played it when he was doing his guitar version. He might have said,
yeah,
come
maybe.
On,
maybe he was playing it and they went, "Oh, that bit's not in it anymore."
Yeah.
Like, huh? What?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right.
I was very disappointed when I finally found out what model that guitar was.
Oh, really?
And then found out it was completely discontinued and they don't make it anymore, which is why he found it secondhand.
Right.
So, for any cosplayers out there, it's the Yamaha SVG something in Galactic Black, I think it's called.
Oh, right.
But
is that why you choose it?
Yeah, probably. Well, he said in an interview, he said something like, every guitar we tried out, like a Stratocaster or a Telecaster, I looked like a man going through a midlife crisis who's just spent like $1,000 on a guitar.
Excellent.
And so he went, I need to find something that looks a little bit off.
Yeah, he's the Doctor at the end of the day. All of his stuff should look a bit battered and a bit well used. Well, we've got 36 people watching, so hello, 36 people. Thank you for joining us. Please share. Oh, it's happening. They're building. So welcome to another Review of Death live stream event. We haven't done one of these in a while. So yeah, we're basically going to just talk Doctor Who stuff. We're going to talk about Series 9. We're going to talk about other bits and pieces that are flying around the tabloids at the moment. The big one that just come through was there was lots of rumours that Series 10 was going to be split into 6 episodes. I think the Daily Mail was posting it earlier on today, and the Mirror. Yeah, exactly. Don't believe them anyway. But Peter Capaldi said in an interview with Lizo, is that his name? The ex-news
Lizo Mazumba.
Him, yeah. He was
who has an account on Gallifrey Base.
Does he really?
He's a big Doctor Who fan.
Oh wow, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
No wonder they get him to do all the Doctor Who stuff.
Exactly.
Excellent. See, that's the way. Just become a Doctor Who fan and just like try and win your way in and get all the BBC jobs. So in that interview with Peter Capaldi was like, I've not heard this. I'm supposed to be doing a full series. And then the Radio Times got in contact with Stephen Moffat, who then turned around and said, it's all a load of nonsense. Series 10 will indeed be 12 episodes and a Christmas special, just like the current season and the season before. So, hooray! We're not having less Doctor Who. We're not getting less Peter Capaldi because he is signed on for the full year. So, fantastic. Excellent news.
I've just got a notification that we're live streaming on my phone because I'm subscribed to you on YouTube, obviously.
That's hysterical.
Something just popped up on my phone saying, Batman March just started live streaming. Tune in. Is he? I didn't know that. Yeah, so there's been a lot of tabloid speculation throughout this series. Probably more so than we've ever had. Well, maybe not ever, but probably more so than we've had in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, compared to last year, there was like nothing. It was just like, oh yeah, Capaldi's starting as Doctor Who this year.
I suppose that was because he was just starting up, so there was nothing to really speculate. Yeah. So now, you know, he's embedded in it. So
yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is with his with the ratings not being as good as they have been in previous years, that's always something that the tabloids were going to go, right, we can get on with that and say, oh, the ratings are going down, the series is going to get cancelled, or, you know, all this kind of stuff. And Peter Capaldi's no good, so he's going. You know, they were always going to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we know that that is now nonsense, so that's good.
And we know the ratings have been consistent. That's the thing that frustrates. The thing about Doctor Who being in the mainstream, for us fans, the thing that frustrates us the most, I think, is when they just get stuff wrong for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like clickbaity, you know, because I'm sure the tabloids, you know, the red tops understand now that how ratings work. They've probably had enough people turn around and say to them, actually, you have to wait. It's not the overnights that actually count. You have to wait for the consolidated ratings, which don't come in for months.
Yeah.
So, you know, well, a month, you know, weeks can elapse until we get the final consolidated ratings for a show. And Doctor Who's been performing absolutely fine. It's been performing above and beyond really pretty much every other drama on every other channel, especially considering iPlayer exists, Netflix exists. And, you know, we were having a conversation in one of my university lectures about scheduling and the fact that most people would probably prefer to watch the X Factor live and then catch up on Doctor Who later, because shows like X Factor are sort of a live event. So consolidated with the iPlayer broadcasts, Doctor Who is still probably, I'd imagine, beyond like the soaps, probably the most watched drama on British television still, and always will be.
Yeah. It's the thing, you know, like you said, stuff like the soaps, they're always going to have masses of people watching it, because it's the things with stuff like EastEnders and Emmerdale and all that kind of stuff is that it's one of those programs that you can just easily just put it on in the background and you don't have to think about it because it's just crap. So you can just let it go through one ear, out the other. And you know that, oh yeah, someone's been murdered, someone's had the house burned down, and, you know, it's all that kind of stuff, a plane's crash, all that kind of stuff. And I guess with Doctor Who, you can't really get that. A guy that I work with turned around to me the other day and he said, I watched my first episode of Doctor Who the other day. This is the week that Maisie Williams was in it. And I thought, oh God, please don't tell me you saw that one when she was the highwayman, because you're never going to like Doctor Who. And he said, well, we watched 2 episodes. I was like, right, okay. He said, it was the one underwater with the ghosts. And I was like, oh, thank God for that. And I was like, oh, did you like it? He said, yeah, I really enjoyed it. He said, I watched it from the start. He said, I think that's what helped. He said, because all the other times when I've caught Doctor Who, he said, I've always caught it partway through, and I've never understood what the hell was going on. So it just didn't make any sense to me. So I was like, oh, well, there you go. You know, watch it from the start. You'll be fine. You'll know what's going on. Well, you should do if it's a coherent story. Yeah. So we've actually got a few questions coming in already.
I've noticed. I just had a look on the actual webpage of the stream, and it says that the chat is closed. That you can't type stuff in.
How strange.
Which is a little bit bizarre, because we are getting questions through. I'm wondering how you guys are submitting your stuff, but on my screen at least, maybe because I'm actually part of the stream, it's saying that the chat is closed. Or
where did you? I clicked on Q&A.
Can
you see that?
Okay, I can see that. I can also see chat, but yeah, okay, right. Well, there's a little Q&A tab then in that case. So if you guys can find that, and you can use that.
I think for the people watching on YouTube, I think you just type into the comments section.
I'm gonna let me have another look, and let me just double check that it is all there, because I'm
sure. The annoying thing is, we thought we had this down last time we did this. I came on today, and they changed everything. They changed the whole layout of the thing, and I was like, no, why have you done this? But thankfully, we seem to be all right. We seem to be okay.
It seems to be going fine for the moment. Yeah, I'm getting comments are disabled for this video, and the chat is disabled for this live stream at the moment, which is a little bit bizarre.
That is very bizarre.
Sorry, everybody.
I'm just going to whack myself over to YouTube and see if there's any settings there that can be.
All right. In that time, I will talk about something. Let me talk about something. What's interesting? What is interesting? Oh, okay. I can talk a little bit about what's been happening with the podcast recently, like pre-recorded podcast stuff. Basically, we've recorded our review. God, it seems so long ago now. Of the opening two-parter for this series. It was a while ago. Now I think of it, it's like, Christ, that was like 6 weeks ago, because it is, with 6-7 episodes into the series now. We're halfway through series 9, and any other season I'd actually go, wow, it's gone by quite fast. But I don't feel like season 9 has gone by that fast. It just seems like, we are plodding along, and not in a bad way, but in the sense of, oh God, like you've got two-parters.
Yeah.
Everything just seems a bit grander, a bit more filled out, a bit more, majestic almost. But yeah, so we have recorded it. I've not had any time to edit it, I'm afraid, because I know like 6 weeks is a bad excuse, but I've just moved back to university. I'm completely new surroundings, as you can see. So it's been a little bit difficult to do it. But it is here on the hard drive. So at some point we'll talk about that. But I'm sure we'll probably review all the episodes in Series 9 so far now anyway.
Yeah.
It's also been trying to find a platform to deliver the podcasts on has also been very difficult, because originally we did it on SoundCloud. A little bit of research would have led to me to realize SoundCloud isn't the best place to upload podcasts, because you have a certain upload limit, and that never changes. It never resets. So you have like 2 hours or 3 hours of stuff you can upload for free, and then you pay another package and you get like another 3 hours, and then you have to delete stuff. But even if you delete stuff, it doesn't reset it. Like, that's just like, the server exists and it depletes your time. So we've realized SoundCloud isn't the best place to be putting it up, and we've been trying to find other places really to host the podcast. Until we find somewhere suitable enough to host the podcast, I suppose it's on a bit of a hiatus at the moment. But I've been getting into live streaming on my own YouTube channel. I've been live streaming video games. I didn't do one this week. I think I'm going to make it a fortnightly thing. But if you guys are interested in that, plug. Then if you find my YouTube channel, which will be somewhere, although if you type my name in, some embarrassing old videos that I made about 7-8 years ago will probably pop up. So just be aware of that. Old Doctor Who fan films and the like. So yeah. I'm doing live streaming on my. Matt has got a PlayStation 4, so
I do.
In the future, if he pays his PlayStation Network Plus subscription, then we'll be able to jump onto live streams and on the YouTube channel and all sorts, which will be awesome fun. So, how's everything going on the technical side, Matthew?
Technically, we're buggered. I don't really get what's going on because. Obviously, we're live. We've got people watching.
Yes.
However, I go into YouTube and it says that we aren't streaming. It says we're offline. Although here it says Batman March is streaming now, but it says the stream is offline. Now it says something here about.
When I jumped in to have a look at the comments and have a look at the chat, we were definitely streaming, and I'm fairly certain we're still reaching people. Because it still says live on my screen. So
yeah, because it says here that it's the beta testing stage for this new version of the live stream thing.
It's probably got bugs in it then. In that case, isn't it? That's probably the only reason it's not showing up.
Because it says, oh, you need to have an encoder. And I was like, do I? And I'm having a look, and it's like, oh yeah, do you need Elgato? And I was like, well, I actually have Elgato, but. Never mind. It's very weird. If people are being, they're able to watch, then I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, because it's saying I need to download Elgato, but I've got Elgato. I think that it's just being weird, so I think we can just carry on as we are. And if not, then I apologise to anyone who can't see us. Yeah. So
I think to ask a question, guys, if you want to ask a question, I think. You have to go onto your Google Plus account. I think it's not going straight into YouTube. Cool. I think it's a PlayStation Plus, a Google Plus thing. So if you guys can, head in there and see all this stuff unfolding, then do so. If not, I guess tweet questions to me at Garrett John, GarrettTTJohn, or Batman March on Twitter, or alternatively go to Matt's Facebook page and leave some. I'll be looking at them in the comments on Facebook. So post some comments on one of the 2 posts that Matt's made today about the podcast being up.
We'll see it.
We'll find it. I'll find it. I'll have it open the whole time. So let's talk about. Let's run down Series 9.
Okay.
Let's do a rundown of all the Series 9 episodes, and Christ, I've forgotten most of them. But let's have a rundown of all the Series 9 episodes, and let's talk about what we think about them. So would you like to start, Matthew, with your opinion on the opening 2 parts of The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar?
Oh, I'm glad you remembered what the names were, because they completely escaped me.
Literally just happened off the top of my head. I was like, what was it called again? The Dalek? No. It's just the Dalek one.
The Dalek one, yeah, that's it. The Dalek one. The Dalek one with Davros. Because that was the funny thing, because we did our little preview about, we all think Davros is going to be in it, and of course Davros was in it. I think I say this in the podcast that hasn't come out yet, but yes. The opening Dalek story. Well, I enjoyed the first. No, I didn't. I enjoyed the first 10 minutes of the first episode. I liked all the stuff with little Davros, little boy Davros. I liked that. I liked the sort of build up to them trying to find the Doctor. What I didn't like, I wasn't keen on all the stuff with. I say all the stuff with the unit. It was very short. They were barely in it. The stuff with Missy and Clara, I didn't really like that. I didn't like all the guitar playing stuff on the tank. And that's not me saying that I don't like the Doctor playing the guitar. I do. It's okay. Although I didn't like it this week, because it was like, really? You're gonna?
Yeah, I thought like this is quite a funny gimmick for the first couple of episodes.
But every episode,
I guess, like Peter Davison had his cricket playing, but he didn't like talk about it in every episode.
No, exactly. And I think that was a bit like, okay. But I think what I didn't like about that bit was, he's out there, he's playing the guitar, he's got these bloody stupid sunglasses on, and he's trying to get all these people to say "dude," and he's like, "No, please, don't do this to the Capaldi Doctor. Do you have to really?" And of course, once that was all out of the way, it was off to Skaro, and it was to see the Daleks and stuff. So it was like bookended with good bits, but it was just that bit in the middle. I was just like, not for me. What did you think of the first episode?
Exactly the same thing. I mean, I think the thing with all of these episodes this series is that they've obviously got very loose ties to each other in some degrees. In other degrees, you have just got two-parters like the Underwater Base, but they are all over the place in terms of where they go and what we do in the story. And I think that was especially prevalent in this story. We were just literally going all over time and space, and that's great. I love those sort of trying to think of the right word. I don't want to say rumpy pumpy adventures because that's completely the wrong term. But I was going to say, do you do that? Well, what am I trying to? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I like those adventures where it's a romp. That's it, not rumpy, romp. I like those romps. But yeah, it was incredibly just disjointed, not just from the stance of it's a two-part, and the first part is setting everything up, and the payoff is in part two. Yeah. In much as the tone was really quite different between the two. Episode one was quite jovial and quite sort of knee slapping, and it's fun. It's Doctor Who's back. It's a Saturday night entertainment, and then part two was a bit more introverted. I mean, I suppose the confined setting sort of added to that. But part two, I enjoyed a hell of a lot. Can we just name them part two and part one now? Why do we have to have these alternative names? Like, if they ever released these on DVD and they did like you know, the classic series release of, you've got, you know, Underwater Menace, finally, you know, all the episodes there. You know, what are they going to do when they release, you know, if they do a single release of Aliens of London? Are they going to call it Aliens of London / World War 3? Or are they going to go with the main title? Because I always, whenever there's a two-parter, if I ever wanted to name it myself as a two-parter, like blah, 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 part 1 and blah, 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 part 2, I always pick the first name.
So do I.
The first episode title.
Yeah, I think probably the reason why they do it is because they probably think that if we have in the listings that this is blah 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 part 2, people who didn't see part 1 are going to go, oh, I didn't see the first part, I'm not going to watch that. Whereas if it's got a completely brand new name, people who aren't reading the descriptions of the episode are more likely to go, oh yeah, I'll flick that on. Whether or not they flick it on and then go, hang on, this is a second episode. Turn this off.
Yeah, I suppose for the more fickle viewers out there is a bit of a, hang on, is this connected, or like where's this go? People who don't watch Doctor Who as regularly as you or I, or you know, you guys watching, I suppose for Joe Public it is a little bit sort of disjointed. You know, where are we going now? Especially that Maisie Williams two-parter. Well, I mean, we'll get onto that in a little bit, but that really was like, I was watching it and I obviously knew it was part 2, but I was there thinking, so hang on, how long has it been for the Doctor? And like, where's Clara? And where are we, like, contextually in the Doctor's timeline? Which I suppose it doesn't matter too much in that regard, but it really was like, where the, like, what at what point are we at now? Has there been any development between the Doctor and Clara in that regard of, you know, their companionship, or, you know, like, have any stories moved on? Which I suppose might make it slightly difficult to place later for people. Or actually, probably not in that fact, but yeah, it seemed to me to be incredibly fractured. That whole two-parter.
I think the thing with that two-parter for me was that second part didn't need to come straight after that first one. You know, we didn't need to have the Vikings, and then we didn't need to then have Highwayman's story. That episode could have easily have come later in the series. To be honest, I think they could have saved it for next year, you know, because we know that there's an extensive amount of time has passed. And it feels like time has passed for the Doctor, because he only sort of say, well, last time I saw you. I mean, I guess it's different for him because he's got a time machine.
Yeah.
But something about it just felt like it had been a while since he'd seen her. And I just felt like having those two episodes, one after the other, just didn't really feel right. Yeah, so that was an odd one. But for back to the Dalek story, the second episode I thought was much better. I'm still on the fence with Missy. I know a lot of people were won over by her.
I was slightly won over by her.
Yeah. See, I
in that first episode, I was like, okay, I am really starting to warm to her. That scene in the courtyard with her and Clara, because I thought, I stopped thinking of her as another regeneration of the Master. I stopped thinking of her as like, so she's like followed Delgado, Ainley, Johnson. She's like, I forgot she's followed all of those characters. Those, you know, because I was like, oh, it's Missy. It's not the Master. It's just Missy, and I'm enjoying the character for being Missy as opposed to another regeneration of the Master. When I got over that, I did enjoy her character an awful lot more.
I think that's part of the problem, you know, is that it's hard. You know, I guess there's some sort of difficulty in trying to think, yeah, that's the Master. It's probably easier to think she's her own thing, and I think that's probably what they should have done. Really, they probably should have just created a new character.
There's nothing wrong with bringing the Rani back. I mean, build up that character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put that character out for the fans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like she had lots of history to, you know, that they were like, oh, the fan, you know, people who aren't fans aren't going to know about this.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's just quite lazy.
Generation anyway. It doesn't matter because it is a new character to these people. You know, they can sort of be aware. Oh, this character's been in it before, and it was played by whoever. Oh, okay. They don't need to know, you know, necessarily the Master's previous connections with the Doctor or the previous adventures they've gone on. To them, you know, the Master, as played by John Sim, was this guy called Harold Saxon, who was also a Time Lord. He's the last of his race. He's been in the show before. Oh, okay. Like there was nothing complicated there.
That's really all you need. I mean, I think that excuse of, oh, you know, we can't bring them back because of all this. If you're going to use that excuse, well, then you might as well not bring back the Daleks or the Cybermen or the Ice Warriors or the Silurians. Oh, no one's going to remember what the Silurians are. No one's going to remember, you know, the Macra.
Yeah.
But, you know, all right, I know the Macra was just like more of a nod to the big fans, but, you know, that really irritates me. I think if you're a writer, surely it's your job to be able to reintroduce these characters. And like you said, you know, it's a newer generation. It's a fresh slate. You know, just you can just easily just sort of say, oh yeah, this is just someone that I've met before.
Absolutely.
You know,
the Rani as a character, I think, needs to be developed an awful lot more, because we've had 2 stories with, I mean, you know, excusing Dimensions in Time and the new Big Finish audios. I want to get on to that as well. We'll talk about Big Finish in a little while, because I've got an axe to grind with them. Yep. But like we know very little about the Rani's origins. We know quite, you know, we know enough about the Master. We know far too much about the Doctor. So it'd be nice to build up, you know, a new dynamic character, a strong female character that's female in their own right, as opposed to seemingly just changing a male character to be female for the sake of it.
Yeah, I mean,
almost to wind the fans up, like Stephen Moffat likes to do.
I think a lot of it is literally just that. I think a lot of it is just, what can we say to get under the fans' skin? So, you know, it was like when in that first episode when Missy turns around to Clara and said something about, something when he was a little girl. Yeah. But one of those is a lie. You know, it's like,
it's
why
so
do you do this?
Self-aware.
Yeah.
It's like I really hate comedians that when they tell a joke, not all comedians, because Ricky Gervais does this now and again. He's my favorite comedian. But when a comedian tells a joke and they laugh at it, like Michael McIntyre, he'll tell a joke and he'll go like that, like he finds it really funny, and it's like you're not supposed. That's not your job. Isn't to react to the audience. It isn't the audience aren't telling the joke. Yeah. So for Doctor Who to constantly have to turn around to fans and go, we're talking about you now, you know, and, you know, derail itself, because it does take you out of the story. Like, you imagine Barry Letts turning around in an episode and writing a line where it's like, I'm talking about all my Buddhist stuff now. Would not have happened. Or Terrence Dix saying you she an awful lot, you know, like or, you know, Doctor, you've got a pleasant open face, and that TARDIS makes a wheezing and groaning sound. Like, it just takes you out of the episode completely.
I think that's part of my problem with Osgood, is that it's like, I mean,
I have question mark underpants. No,
and it's just like, oh god, when he said that, I was just like, oh, why do you do this? Why do you do this to this program? You know, I'm sure some people just think, well, it's just, you know.
I think that's Peter seems to be enjoying it, and to be honest, if Peter's all right with it, I'm more all right with it, because I don't know, because he has, you know, he has such love for the show and preserving its heritage, and saying, oh, we're not doing that and we're not doing this, and, you know, being very staunch towards certain attitudes for the show and protecting it for the greater good. So I suppose if he really didn't want to say it, he wouldn't have said it.
He'd have gone Malcolm Tucker and said.
He would have gone Malcolm Tucker or Stephen Moffat.
I think Osgood is. I think that's my problem with those. That, I mean, obviously, I get the idea that, you know, she is there for the fans and she is there to say, oh look, you know, I'm one of you. Yeah. But I think that's the problem. It's like, but I don't think you should have that in that universe. No. You know, it's just a bit too. It's on the nose. Malcolm with Unit, when it was Lee Evans playing Malcolm in whatever story that was, Planet of the Dead.
Yeah.
That worked enough because, you know, he made some little references to different stories, and he was just a mad scientist guy who liked the Doctor. But then when you start getting someone wearing the scarves, wearing the jumpers, that really bugs me, because that is a Lavazzi Sylvester McCoy jumper that she's wearing.
Buy now at bbcshop.co.uk.
Yeah. But the annoying thing is, the way that jumper is made, you can't hand make that. That needs to be knitted by a machine. And you're not gonna go anywhere and say, can you knit this on a machine for me? Because they'd be like, no, we need to knit so many. And I know this because they did a group run for a proper one on Gallifrey Base, and my brother bought one. They would only make it if they had so many people signed up to do it. So unless
Matt, do you want to tell everybody who may not have seen it what else your brother bought recently?
Yeah, I will. On the subject of cosplay, although this isn't really cosplay for my brother, he went onto eBay the other day, and someone was selling one of Sylvester McCoy's red tobacco handkerchiefs, and it was a screen-used one of the few that they had. And my brother thought, I'm going to get that, and so he bought this handkerchief. £400. So he now actually owns, and I've seen it, one of the original handkerchiefs that McCoy used. You don't know if it was the one in his pocket or if it was around his hat, but yeah, he now owns a piece of Doctor Who history. So
what was your reaction? Cool. What was your reaction when he came in with that and said, "I've got this"? Was the first thing you asked its legitimacy, or how much did you pay for that?
Well, the trouble was, it was because it was on there for a while, and he was sort of on the fence about getting it, and he was like, "Oh, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it?" And the guy who was selling it was asking for a lot more than what my brother paid. And I think my brother emailed him and said, "Look, I'll give you this much." And he was like, "Yeah, all right."
That sort of defeats the point of eBay, doesn't it? If you've got something up there for £600 and someone says, "I'll give you £2.50 for it," all right.
I think well, the guy was asking for, I think it was something like £750, or it might have been more than that. And
was Jonathan's itchy trigger finger like hovering over the £700 button? Was he like?
Well, I think he was a little bit. I think he was contemplating it. That
would have been like no, like I would have been very sad to hear that.
But yeah, so there's no traces of like Sylvester McCoy's nostril hairs or snot or anything like that. It's been cleaned, I'm sure. Dry cleaned.
Sure.
Which I don't.
It's not authentic then. It's not authentic. It doesn't have the McCoy scent. So Jonathan should just send it back. It's not authentic.
Yeah.
Got somebody.
I wasn't allowed to sniff it because I had a cold the day that it was there, and my brother didn't want my cold germs on this Sylvester McCoy hanky. But I'd have given it a little sniff just to see.
Sylv probably blew his nose on it. Jesus.
Probably. Well, I was watching something the other day. It was Remembrance of the Daleks, and it was that. I think it's beginning of episode 3, just after all the Daleks surround Ace. He comes in with the thing, and they blow up the Daleks. And there's all the smoke, and he gets the handkerchief and he puts it to his face like that, and you can just sort of see it going up his nose a bit. And I thought, that's the one my brother's got.
Oh, he'll be well chuffed to be able to clone him. We've got somebody in the comments telling us that the question mark underpants, in fact, appeared in the 8th Doctor comics.
They did indeed. Yes, they did. I can't remember what the one is now. It's there's like he goes through like a bit of a dreamscape type thing, and he wakes up in bed with Grace Holloway, and then he starts to realise that it's all false or something. I can't really remember.
God. Jesus Christ, that's quite progressive, isn't it?
Yeah, in bed.
He only snogged her once,
and before you know it, he's in bed with her.
It's unbelievable.
In his question mark underpants.
Jesus.
Madness.
Unbelievable. Well, I suppose Paul McGann was on the shortlist to play Bond. So.
Was he really?
Yeah, for GoldenEye.
Wow. His career could have been very different.
Apparently, it was like he was like in the shortlist of the top 5 that Pierce was in.
Wow.
And they decided to go with Pierce because he looked a bit harder.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't really see Paul McGann as James Bond.
It's just the hair, and so I imagine him pouncing around. So the name's Bond.
Yeah,
James
I think that's
Bond.
the thing. He's got more of a, I don't want to say an effeminate face because he doesn't, but
he's just a bit more thespian than I'm going to nut you on and run off with this bird. You know.
Yeah, I guess Pierce Brosnan's got more of a classically handsome face. I don't know. He looks more like James Bond.
Do you know, I noticed as well. I was watching The World Is Not Enough the other day. Pierce Brosnan can't pronounce his character's own name. He doesn't say Bond.
Yeah, I think it's his Irish accent. It's very strange.
It's because it's sort of like, it's definitely Irish, but it's American Irish. There's I don't hear any hints of it in there. That's like, he's British, but then again, he is like German, French, and Scottish in the novels and across the film season. So like,
well, who cares?
Whatever. He's in foreign countries most of the time. Well, apart from the Craig films, the most recent two, he's in foreign countries a lot of the time. So
yeah, that is true. He knows all these languages as well, so I'm sure he's bound to have picked up a few different things.
Absolutely. I love the fact we're retconning the Bond franchise now. Let's just have a look in the comments before we the questions panel before we move on to anything else. Take a question from there. Apparently also the dude stuff was improvised by Peter Capaldi and it was much shorter in the script.
Oh God, Peter, what is wrong with you? Can you imagine if I was directing that story? I'd go, hang on a minute.
Stop it.
Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing. Look, we know no one liked you last year because you were an old grumpy bastard, but be an old grumpy bastard. Don't start saying dude all the time.
It's almost like, what was that thing? I was watching one of our videos the other day, and we said something about overcompensating an issue by creating an even bigger problem, and then it like makes that problem even worse. I can't remember what it was. But it was always the Cybermen. They walk slowly in the early new series stories. So then they made them zip around like Iron Man. That's what you just completely made the problem so much worse. Doing that and doing the whole dude thing is like you're making the issue like so much more obvious. Like when you watch Deep Breath and then watch the opening two parts of this, I get that his character's developed, but then you watch the Zygon invasion and he's gone back to being Series 8, 12.
Yeah, he's a lot more morose and just sort of a bit more grumpy. I was really pleased. I was like, oh, good. You're sort of back to how I like you.
I thought he was really flat in the Zygon story. Like,
he wasn't in it much though, was he? Well, not really. He didn't really do anything.
It really took me back to those episodes, where Tom Baker's on set and he looks like he just can't be fucked. That's sort of just get on with this, have a bloody stroke sort of thing, where he's just like really like, I don't want to be here, and the people around me don't want me to be here either. But obviously Peter's a lovely guy. He doesn't have that temperament. Well, no, I don't think he does. But he
that'd be great. Imagine if he did. Imagine if it all came out that he comes across all sweetness and light in interviews.
Well, and when we met him, he came.
Yeah, he was really nice when we met him.
Yeah.
But
is this libelous saying that Peter Capaldi might be a bit of a twat on set?
He might be a bit of a Tom Baker on set.
I think he's. I can't ever imagine he'd be like that.
No, I'm sure. Everyone says how nice he is, and he was lovely when we met him. He was a true gent. We're just having a laugh purely for the sake of this live stream.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he did seem a bit. I can see what you're saying. He did seem a bit just like.
And the lines in it as well, like don't kill all of them. I want to speak to at least one of them. It's like, don't kill any of them. Don't kill any of them.
When I watched that, I was like, holy shit. He was just
Keep
like,
some of them alive.
It reminded me of something. I don't know if it was something from Star Wars, where there's something similar, like, keep just, so long as there's one alive. But it's like, bloody hell, that's dark.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, something that I found with the Zygons this year, I'm so pleased that we've got a proper Zygon story after all this time, because it was nice seeing them in the 50th, but they didn't really do anything in that. But the thing that I found with this episode so far, it might change in the next one, they've lost their sinister edge.
Yeah.
They're not as creepy and as scary as they were back in 75. I don't know if that's a mix of Douglas Camfield's superb direction and the composer has escaped me. His name.
Don't say anything. I'm going to look on my iTunes now and find him.
But him, his music's very atmospheric, very creepy, and I don't know. I mean, I'm really pleased that they got Nick Briggs to do the Zygon voices and actually do them properly with the actual modulation like they are in the old series. But there's just something about them. I think they have become blobby monsters. I think they are just a bit too generic. I don't like that electricity coming out of their hands. I know they're meant to have like stings, but I always imagine that to be like the suckers in their hands, like there was something horrible in there. Like when they touched you, it was like, not, I'm a Cyberman, I'm electrocuting you.
Doctor, do you want to be left alone with that thing? I'm titillating its fronds. What? Like, that was the weirdest.
When he turns around, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he's doing it. He goes, "Oh yeah, old habits." And it's just like, "Oh, really? You couldn't have just."
He was making squelching noises as well. Made it a lot worse.
You couldn't have just said, "Oh, don't worry, I've seen one of these before.
Yeah,
I've used one of these before." That's what we needed.
That's a little bit cheeky, a bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
like I've seen one of these before. Like that's far enough.
I'm a dab hand with one of these.
Oh God. Yeah, it's Jeffrey Bergen or Bergen.
Jeffrey Bergen. Yes.
If I play this track, can you hear it, or is it just in my headphones? You can't hear anything.
It's just in your head.
It's
not even in your headphones. It's just playing in your head.
The Revenge of the Cybermen music's always playing in my head.
Excellent.
Okay, let's talk about the underwater story, because I always forget what it's called. Under the Lake Before the Flood. That's what it's called.
Is that what it's called? Is it? I was just the one with the ghosts underwater.
Which was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Loved it.
It was like a classic Doctor Who story, I guess, but it just felt like quintessential Doctor Who. It was like, if it was like this every week, we couldn't really go wrong.
No.
Not the same sort of story, I mean, but if it was done this way, I think we'd be in for a hell of a series. I mean, I don't really have many criticisms about this at all.
Nope.
My only real criticism about that story was that the big monster, the Fisher King, wasn't in it that much, and he
voiced by Peter Serafinowicz.
When we were watching it, me and Kat, we were like, "That guy's voice is amazing," and we looked it up. And we were like, "That's why that guy's voice is amazing."
Yeah. And the scream was done by some. He's in Slipknot.
Oh, yeah.
He's in that. Yeah, which I was like, I didn't really hear it, like the scream or the yell or whatever, the growl. I didn't really hear it, and I was like,
yeah, I felt like it was just.
Tash said to me, "That sounds like a heavy metal singer," and I was like, "Well, that's probably what they were going for." And then afterwards, I was like, "It was Corey Taylor from Slipknot," and she went, "That's why." Like there was actually a reason that it sounded like a heavy metal singer.
Yeah, that was. I don't really have any criticisms for that. I just thought it was a bloody good story.
Yeah.
The opening of the second episode, when he did the whole Beethoven thing and was like, "Oh yes,
Yeah, that was quite. It was almost like something they'd put in for the DVD, like an added scene.
It just sort of felt a bit like, I don't think anyone's going to get what has actually happened here. So let's put a bit at the start, which is going to explain the entire plot of the next 45 minutes, just so no one gets confused. It was very strange. You know, it was just very, very odd. I mean, I quite liked it. I quite liked the Doctor talking to the camera. It didn't
especially
put me in the mind of,
we won the set and we saw the Beethoven vinyls as well.
Yeah, when he picked it up, I was like,
that's the one. And I saw his. Did I point out to you when we walked past it? I saw his amp in one of the big cabinets. His amp, and then the guitar bag on top of it. And it's like, that's the one.
It's there.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about that at some point, or are you going to wait until you upload something about it? Or
I will upload something about it, but
okay.
Yeah, we did go and meet Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
On the TARDIS, me, Cat, and Billy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
good day.
That was all right. We'll leave it at that.
We touched everything, pressed everything. Yeah.
I was gonna talk about that because it was something I wanted to put out to people watching, because I've asked a lot of people about it prior to the series like carrying on.
Yeah.
And it was that I spoke to Derek Ritchie outside the TARDIS when you guys were in there, and you were like, you were taking your photos, and I was like, I was mixing with the top brass.
You were getting in there.
I was getting in there. I said I'm studying television production, and I was like, Matt does like videos on YouTube, and I sold you more than I sold myself. So I was talking to him, and I said, I was really disappointed to see that when you did the trailers for the series, that they were in that beautiful cinematic widescreen aspect ratio, and I was a bit disappointed when I watched the opening 2 stories and saw that it was in 16:9, and it was like, I was like, oh, that was a really cool look.
Yeah.
And he said to me, oh yeah, well, we thought that people would find it a little bit weird if they turned on their TV screens to watch a TV show and it looked like a movie. And I, like, in the back of my head, I was going, no, what? But obviously, because I was with him, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, okay, that's fair enough. And then afterwards, I was thinking, that's bollocks. Like, what was that?
She just turned around to him and said, no, that's bollocks.
Yeah, that's rubbish. That show that was on recently, Dr. Foster, which had Keely Hawes in it, I think. That isn't like a bombastic, explosive, cinematic, movie-esque sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's really strange that they would. But I get, why on earth did they do it for the? I didn't see your face. Why on earth did they do it for the trailers? And then think,
I don't know. I think maybe it was.
You can see.
Hello, Cat.
Billy says hello. I'm sure you can.
Hello.
Thank you. You got this today.
Yeah.
You got them today.
She's lovely.
She's lovely. She's like my little Barbie dolly.
She absolutely stinks.
She smells of perfume. Her name's Perfuma. She's a He-Man character.
He-Man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got it. All right, hang on. If you've got one of your obsessions involved, I'll get one of mine in.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway,
are you heavyweight champion?
No, this is the tag team championship actually. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get rid of that. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, I've completely gone off track now. What was it?
Hold on to her flower.
So what's that? She won't hold on to a flat. Oh, don't worry, I'll sort out. Having toy trouble here.
Toy trouble.
Toys have been touched, and now things can't be put back like they were.
Oh, she's broken it. Yeah, but like that, I think they just did that to the trailers to be like, hey, look, the show looks new, but when you watch it, it'll be the same old shit over and over again.
Yeah, I did think when I was watching it, I was like, am I going mad, or did it look better in the trailers?
I was watching actually. Who was it that posted the? Of course, being BBC Worldwide's bitch. The Big Finish YouTube channel are posting trailers for the upcoming week's episode of Doctor Who, and they posted up. They put up the one for the Zygon invasion, which I only saw after the episode went out, and I went, "This is not the same. Like, it's been color graded completely differently."
Yeah,
and like I'm maybe they want to put them out as films at some point, or want to stitch some together for a theatrical release like they did for in North America with
they did, didn't they?
So I was thinking maybe,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe they're shooting it with that in mind, like, oh, we can add them when we want to. But it was a real shame, because that did scream to me, this is like new, and we're actually taking it very seriously.
I'm glad you said that, actually, because I remember watching the trailers and thinking this could be like something like Spooks or something, the way it was shot. And then when I was watching it on Saturday, I was like, But it doesn't. It just looks like Doctor Who has always looked for like the last couple of years. It's such a shame. And the annoying thing is that when those first trailers came out, everyone was like, my God, this looks so good. It looks so much better. Everyone was praising the cinematography. And then they turned around and were like, actually, we won't bother. We'll just put it out as normal. What were they thinking? Madness.
It's sad. It is sad. And especially considering they have got some very good cinematographers on the show, it would be nice to actually see that. I think that's a culture with television. I get that it's at my university a lot. We have a film production course and a TV production course. And the film production course get all the nice gear and the bigger studio. Yeah. And we've got a broom cupboard and, nice cameras. They're the cameras that they shoot for B-roll on the one show, but they're like, they're worth a couple of grand. I had to wheel one through the centre of Bristol last night, which was terrifying. A couple of grand's worth of camera equipment I was taking up to the Clifton Triangle. That was horrible.
Jesus.
But yeah, at 6 o'clock at night after coming off the train. But yeah, so we use these cameras, and it seems to be everyone's opinion, clearly in the business as well as here, and everywhere else, that no, television can't look like a film. Television's got to look like television. Television's got to look like a drama. Television's got to look like it's been shot multiple cameras. But that's clearly not the case anymore. TV shows are becoming more like films, and when like you said, when we saw these trailers first come out, everyone just went, oh my God, it feels so fresh, it feels so different, it feels really diverse, it feels like it's being experimental and pushing the boat out a little bit more. And then
that is exactly what I was going to say. It was like Doctor Who is a series that has always, usually taken risks, and you sort of think they should have just taken a risk with it and gone, let's try it. Let's just do it for a season and just see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they would have been absolutely fine with the whole thing. I don't think anyone would have turned around and gone, I've gone on to bloody Points of View and said, dear BBC, I tuned into Doctor Who on Saturday night and I thought I was watching a film. What are you doing?
I thought there was something wrong with my TV. Do not adjust your set.
It's mad. Especially when we've got programs like Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff, which, is praised for the way it looks. And,
absolutely.
It's like, come on, BBC.
I know the BBC are in troubling times, and they probably want to say the last thing we want to do now is take a risk.
Yeah.
But for the sake of Joe Public's opinion, which is probably not even opinion, they probably, in fact, someone tuning in for Doctor Who who doesn't like Doctor Who probably go, bloody hell, Doctor Who looks good this week. You can't really go wrong with that. I understand, I think there's still something like 46,000 televisions in this country that are still black and white that people are watching, which is unbelievable to think that there's people out there who are
still people.
40, I think it's something like 46,000 televisions in this country is still in black and white. It's still watching stuff in black and white.
Hang on a minute. How can they be watching stuff in? How?
It must be one of these old CRT televisions they're watching stuff on.
Oh, I guess they just got like a digital box.
I'm sure there's a stupid figure. I know there's definitely still black and white figures in this country in homes.
That has blown my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was technologically possible now to use one of those.
But I know, like in the editing suite we have at university, we have really beautiful, like stupidly expensive audio monitors, and then a tiny little crappy tinny pair of monitors, and we use them to that sounds amazing, we're getting the mix right, but then we can also listen to the mix in the crappy little monitors and go, but that's what it will sound like at home to people who don't have these massive blaring speakers. And I understand that some people don't even have widescreen televisions. Clearly, like I said, some people still watch stuff in black and white. Some people are probably still watching them on 4x3 cathode ray tube TVs from about 15-20 years ago.
Probably.
And like I understand that if there's going to be some problem with homes receiving the signal, don't put it out. But creatively to make that decision seems mad to me.
It's just daft. But it's a bit backward thinking, isn't it? Especially when you think that they were really trying to push, the cinema release of Deep Breath and the
Yeah.
50th anniversary one. It's like, well, if you want to do it, don't sort of tiptoe mad. Speaking of
whether or not, sorry, I was going to say, did we get to the bottom of whether or not Deep Breath, the theatrical release, there was a version in cinematic widescreen and a version just like the television version? Did we get to the bottom of whether or not there were two versions of it?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything.
I didn't
really look into it.
later.
Have a look, see what you can find. But speaking of cinema releases for Doctor Who, one thing that is interesting that's just come out in the news lately, I don't know if you've seen this, the Hot on the Heels of the Lego Doctor Who game that's come out. Well, not the Lego Doctor Who game, I wish, but him being in Lego Dimensions. Apparently Warner Brothers are now in talks with the BBC to get Doctor Who into the new Lego movie.
Which would be brilliant, but it would be for a very quick cameo, I would imagine. I would imagine he's not replacing or joining Wildstar or Batman or Emmett in the film.
Well, that would be amazing if he came along and was just like, right, I'll sort it out. I'll sort this out for you. But probably not. It's probably just a quick, hello, I'm the Doctor. It's probably like in the game, he just like picks him up and takes him somewhere and then goes, right, I'm off. The Daleks look shit.
I like them, and I like the Dalek comedy in it. It really makes me laugh.
I like the Dalek comedy. I just think they look rubbish.
I love the fact that Nicholas Briggs is clearly like gets their Dalek comedy, because he does that thing about the really excitable high pitched Dalek that just squeaks and goes, I'm gonna kill you, and then all the other Daleks look around at him like, what are you doing? And he just like calms down. And
it's really great.
A little bit. It's hilarious.
I mean, I've tried to stay away from it because I do want to get the game eventually, but it's like £99 for the actual thing, and then you've got
you've got to pay like £2 for the set.
Yeah, I know, it's mad. But apparently there's a bit where, oh no, I can't say it because it might spoil it for people. I'll just say that there's a bit where a character says something about getting unlimited rice pudding, securing the unlimited rice pudding, which is just like, and if you've seen any of the gameplay for the Doctor Who specific stuff that's just come out, the amount of love and attention to classic series references, it's just mad. A guy on the Facebook group, Ross, has been posting all these screen grabs from the video he's been watching, saying, look, this is in it, and this is in it. And I've been looking down, and it's just like, this is insane. You sort of think that they're going to do Lego Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's a big business like Warner Brothers. They're not really going to know what Doctor Who is all about. It's going to be half-hearted and shite. But it really isn't. You can tell that the people there are like, if we did a Lego game, it would be bloody brilliant. So
it would be. It would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I read in Doctor Who magazine that the guy who's part of like the digital stuff at the BBC, who sort of helped formulate all this with Warner Brothers to get him in the game, he sort of said, my next step is for them to make a full Lego Doctor Who game. And I think the way
the problem with that is that clearly all the other games have been franchises for Lego before, like Star Wars and Harry Potter. Like the sets for those have been running for almost a decade now. So I suppose without actual figures to base situations and scenarios off of, I suppose they can release them as well. I think there's probably more of a market for Harry Potter sets and Star Wars sets and Pirates of the Caribbean sets than there is for a Doctor Who set. But I'm glad they're doing the little Lego Ideas run. I'm glad they're doing that little box of the TARDIS console. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Are you gonna?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I think you should. I think you should.
Should just do like
if only I can just come
when you're building it, I just be there, sat there building it, going, this do it again, right? Some hours later, done it, right? Fantastic.
And now you can't play with it because it's so fragile. It will just burst into a million bricks.
Right. Okay, just sit there, never touch it again. Don't breathe on it; it will explode. But I think the way that the internet has reacted to this Lego Doctor Who, I think people have loved it so much that I don't know. I think we might end up getting a Lego Doctor Who game, possibly. So. I hope so. It'd be amazing. Yeah. anything's better than that Wii game that we played.
Which is coming out when, Matthew?
Well, it will be coming soon. I think that's the next thing on my list of edits to start tackling.
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
because it's been such a long time that I just can't remember.
I think I sort of banished that thing from my memory where it was just so terrible. I actually have the game over there. I brought it with me. I saw it, and she was like, "What's that?" I was like, "That is without question probably the worst game you are ever likely to play." She was like, "Why have you brought it with you?" I was like, "I don't know. I'll never play it."
Doctor Who Online is the only Doctor Who game I own. The Eternity Clock is next on our list, I suppose. So
that's the next one we're gonna have to.
We'll tackle that.
Crack down.
So let's talk about the other stories this season. Well, let's talk about the last two-parter.
So what was that? That was
the girl who died and the woman who lived.
Maisie Williams, or as I like to call it, the BBC try and get people to watch Doctor Who by enticing the Game of Thrones fans. I didn't mind the Viking one. It was okay. Some of the special effects were terrible. Like that guy's Odin's head in the cloud.
That made me laugh.
What? It was just like, bloody hell, this is like 1986 Doctor Who effects.
My girlfriend, when we watched it, shout out to her, she's watching now. She said it looks like the Teletubbies. But when when baby face appears in the sun and giggles, she said it's Teletubbies. Oh yeah. And now I can't get that thought out of my mind. They all look up into the sky, terrified, and now there's this little laughing child staring down at them.
I think that's more frightening, to be honest.
It's kind of a lot more frightening.
Again, it suffered from that great, interesting-looking monster that wasn't in it enough. So those big robot things with the scary faces underneath, it's like they look cool, but do something with them. Don't just have them a bit in the beginning and bring them back just to get their asses kicked.
Those monsters are like the perfect analogy for the series so far, because it's like all this, this potential that's like, are they going to be dark and scary, or are they going to be quite, whatever? Like when they took the masks off, it was like, hang on, what? That's underneath that? Like it was really like, shit, that's probably like, what's the the alien on the cover of Dust Breeding, the
I know, oh god, what are they called?
That is the one that Mike Tucker made, like just for that.
Yeah, with the big jaw and the teeth. Yeah,
like that is terrifying. Like that really freaked me out as a kid, because I was like, I don't want to go anywhere near that CD cover, and it reminded me of that. There's sort of like a grey mouth sort of thing, and like it looked quite fishy,
Yeah, it was fishy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like wow, that's a really incredible design. I would rather of them have just been like the dream crabs, like get rid of that stupid dream crabs gimmick and put these monsters in the episode, because they look like they're gonna they're like leeches.
They're gonna do some damage, aren't they?
Yeah. I'd rather have then just not taken their helmets off, and we have that monster later down the ears.
Yeah,
it's like its own thing.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe they'll turn up again. I forgot that episode was written by Jamie Matheson.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite surprised, because I liked all his stuff last year, and then I was like, this one didn't.
Yeah, Mummy on the Orient Express though.
Yeah, you weren't so keen on that, so I like that one. And I didn't really get what all the fuss was about with Maisie Williams.
Again, I was every time they posted about her on Twitter, I'd post, "Oh my god, guys, did you know Maisie Williams in the series of Doctor Who?" And then I look back on my Twitter thing, and I was like, I've tweeted this out about 18 times in a fortnight, because they kept posting about it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was everywhere. It was like, Maisie Williams is going to be in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I was like,
get excited, please get excited, please watch.
And she wasn't really in it that much. And it was just like, and she wasn't that good. She wasn't anything special. It was just like, I couldn't care less.
Her character was clearly, they were like, who's this character going to be? We're not gonna tell you. It's going to be very, very secretive. Very, is she Susan? Is like, but for the people who don't care about Maisie Williams, they're sowing those seeds. For the people that care about Maisie Williams, they'll watch it anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
So it's win-win either way, except it's going to piss everybody off who
no one's going to be happy with
media.
it. Yeah. And I didn't really get the whole thing with the Doctor going on about, like, oh, you know, immortality is a curse and all this kind of thing. And he's gone on about this in the past, about how it's horrible that he gets to see all his friends die, and, you know, it was a big thing in school reunion. And then all of a sudden he's like, but in your case, I'm going to just let you live forever, and I won't really care. I won't really worry about it.
All the people you could go back and save. It's like if you had this magical tablet, who would you give it to? Like, you'd rather give it to Maisie Williams than Sarah Jane Smith.
Yeah.
Christ, even like character-wise, like you'd rather give it to Rose than her. You know what I mean?
Adric.
Like, it's like. Adric? Well, certainly the fifth Doctor would have been death, wouldn't he? I think that's the 12th Doctor sending a message through the vortex, Adric, to his like death, just to remind him, like, there's going to be a point in your life where you're going to go, oh, I made the wrong decision about saving the wrong person. So that was the fifth Doctor going, oh shit, Adric.
Oh dear. Yeah, I just didn't get it. I was just like, I don't understand why have you done this? You know. I mean, I know it's just some shit way to try and get Maisie Williams in another episode. So I wasn't very keen on that. And I thought all the stuff with the electric eels was a bit far-fetched. I mean, I know it's Doctor.
Yes, I know. Maybe the whole thing about this series is like they promise you so much, and then they're like, it's the same old shit. You know, like, you know, we're going into unexplored territory, which we have explored before and maybe done better. But, you know, just watch it just in case, like, something cool happens that we didn't tell you about. Like, it does seem a bit desperate. Like, they're hinging on certain aspects of the show that they shouldn't be, that don't need to be sort of hyped. Like, okay, we've got a guest character, Maisie Williams, coming in for the show. Oh, that's quite cool. Okay, fine. You know, that's awesome. That sounds interesting. She's from a big franchise. She's entering another big franchise. Maybe she'll bring in some more viewers. You know, awesome. Maybe she'll bring in a slightly more mature audience who come over from Game of Thrones. Like, yeah, cool. That's not to say that young kids don't watch Game of Thrones, because I'm fairly certain my little cousin does, and that's terrifying because he's 12. You know, like, you know, clearly, it's like they're hyping the wrong parts of the show.
Yeah. It's interesting that you should have said about, you know, bringing in a mature audience. Yeah, bring in a mature audience and put them in like one of the more kiddie friendly episodes of Doctor Who. It's like,
that's weird, isn't it?
Like, if it had been the week before, if it had been the Ghosts one, then maybe these mature viewers might have gone, actually, this isn't that bad. Or even if it was the Zygon one, they might have said, oh, well, you know, okay, this is a bit more on the nose with
promising so much. Like, you know, it's going to be different. It's going to be edgy. It's going to be... No, it's not that. We liked it. It's like Moffat baiting people. Like the whole thing he posted about what was it? I think I put something up on the Doctor Who Facebook page, put a little video clip about Stephen Moffat talking about the sonic sunglasses, and I posted a comment on it, and I still get notifications now that people are liking it. It's like the top rated comment on the thing, just saying, you know, like talking about the sonic screwdriver and its usefulness and all that sort of stuff. And in fact, somebody in the comments said, Billy, like recognizing videos. He's like, oh, that's terrifying. Yeah. But he in the video, if you watch it, it's still on the Facebook page. He says basically he just did it to wind people up, because he says we know what the Doctor Who fan base can be like, and sometimes you've got to commit heresy just to irritate those people. And that nearly word for word what he said. He did it to piss people off. Like, if you're a showrunner of a show and you want to make the show popular, you don't do it by pissing off your fan base.
Yeah, that's a very odd way of doing things. I mean, I love the thing that they were all going on about. It was like, oh, you know, fans are outraged that they've got rid of the sonic screwdriver. And I was like, I don't care that they've got rid of the sonic screwdriver. Get rid of the sonic screwdriver for all I care. I don't really think it's...
I think they thought more people will be pissed off about it, like, than they were.
I'm more pissed off by the fact that he's wearing a pair of fucking sunglasses and going, oh, don't worry, I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi with my sunglasses. What? For God's sake, give it a rest.
I know.
It's like, oh.
You know that I'll go to the Doctor Who festival on Saturday next week. They're going to be selling replica Sonic sunglasses.
Oh God! Can you go there and just snap them?
I will. I will. I was like when I went to the 50th anniversary convention at the ExCeL, 2013, and did you see the price of the Matt Smith bow ties?
It was ridiculous. Everything was so overpriced.
It was like I'm not overblowing it when I'm saying it was like over 250 quid or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And the jackets.
Oh, they had the Captain Jack jacket and the Tennant jacket, and they're not even like the ones that the fans do. Magnolia clothiers.
Oh yeah, they're so much better.
More screen accurate than the ones the BBC are putting out. It's like comparing those Tom Baker fancy dress costumes that they sold in Forbidden Planet a couple of years ago to, a proper nice knitted scarf. I haven't brought my season 18 scarf to university, actually. I just realised that. But then again, if I start wearing it around campus, I might get weird looks. Who cares? It's season 18. Yeah, so then part 2 of that story was a shame.
I just switched off. My mum and dad watched it because my mum and dad weren't going to watch this series because now that I'm not living at home, they were like, we don't feel the need to have to watch this program anymore. But they've been doing it anyway. Yeah. And my brother was actually home with them that day. They decided to watch that. They watched the first 5 minutes and they were like, this is so shit, we're turning it off. And my brother was like, I don't blame you, turn it off, it's terrible.
Wow.
It was that bad. I mean, a lot of people liked it, but it did seem like a very Marmite story. I've seen a lot of people who have said that was atrocious, and I've seen a lot of people who thought it was brilliant. It just didn't do anything for me. I didn't like any of the stuff with Rufus Hound. When he was getting hanged and he was doing all that like stand-up stuff. Like, oh, do your stand-up comedy routine before you're gonna get your neck broken. Yeah, because that's what would happen, isn't it? Really.
I don't find him funny anyway. And then when he did that bit, I was like, he's apparently a Doctor Who fan, and he was like, when he was talking about it, I was like, you seem like a really like nice, genuine Doctor Who fan. You seem like a nice, genuine bloke. Fair enough. Let's just wait this out. And then that scene happened, and I went, I was so right from the start. I was so right.
As soon as he was announced, it was just like, this is going to be some crap comedy character, and it's going to be a disaster. And it was.
So the difference between comedic actors appearing in this series, this is such a polar opposite. Rufus Hound appearing in a quaint, jaunty, swashbuckling adventure. Rhys Shearsmith appearing in episode 10 or episode 11, whichever episode it is. Like
9, I think.
9, the polar opposites that those episodes are going to be. I'm so excited because it's a found footage episode apparently, and like that's really exciting as a prospect.
Yeah, that's the thing. That taking a risk is something different, something that I haven't done before. So I don't know why they thought, oh, we can put that on television,
but we can't put up white bars on it. Yeah. Oh, ridiculous.
Madness.
So yeah, that episode was bollocks. The kitty cat was shit, and
it was like a Farrell. But shite.
Not you, cat. Not you, cat. We're talking about the lion. Don't.
It was a shit Farrell. That breathes fire.
Why couldn't they make it a Farrell? Why couldn't they just even if it's just like one line, like he's descended from the Farrells, or the Naimon, like he's descended from the Naimon family. And all that stuff.
Actually, I'm glad they didn't, because otherwise it'd be like, I have to now connect Warrior's Gate with this. And although Warrior's Gate is a story that you watch and you think, I haven't really got a clue what's going on.
No, I haven't
got a clue. Sci-fi, and it's just doesn't make any sense.
That'd be quite a good episode to review in a video actually one day, because I like Ghostlight. It's like I haven't got a clue. Like I've never.
What's it about?
Watch it. Like what? Okay, what is the story about then?
Yeah, that's you need to sit down with like a scientist or a mathematician. Get Christopher H. Bidmead along and sit him down and go, so what is actually happening in this story?
Oh my god.
So not a fan. And I didn't think anything really paid off with Maisie Williams. And she's going to be in episode 10.
Mm. Well, hang on. The found foot. No. Face the Raven.
One after. The one with Riggsy.
Yeah, Face the Raven. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to be in that one. And I just didn't like all this thing, like, oh, I'm going to be the one who's like watching you, Doctor, and watching out for all the companions that you leave behind. It's like, oh God, why do we have to do this all the time?
It's like setting up another Torchwood. So like, you know, like.
God. Speaking of Class, that was the biggest letdown of an announcement I think has ever happened. It was like, big announcement, hold on to your hats. New
Class.
Class. What? It's called Class. It's going to be school.
I can't sort of in my head. I can't pitch it okay. So it's related to Doctor Who. How? Like, is it going to be like the Sarah Jane Adventures, but all the boring stuff when they're in school? Like, are the teachers going to be Krillitanes? Are the teachers going to be Slitheenes?
It's on BBC Three, isn't it? And they said it's going to be like it's more
a young adult thing.
Yeah, young adults drama. So, what's going to happen? Is it
going to be a spin-off? Like, this is the tone we want Doctor Who to actually be, but it's going to be a completely different show.
I don't know. I mean, is it going to be
like Torchwood? Because Torchwood wasn't like Torchwood was its own thing. Like, it crossed over now and again, but it's like that's dirty Doctor Who.
Dirty Doctor Who.
You've got kiddie Doctor Who with Sarah Jane Adventure. Well, intellectually, Doctor Who's kiddie Doctor Who nowadays. You got, Sarah Jane for the little uns.
Yeah.
And then you've got Doctor Who for like, everyone.
Yeah.
There seems to be such a narrow band of pitching it because like their audience now isn't young adults, teenagers. Hunger Games sort of Twilighty sort of audience. Like that's not their demographic. So like surely you'd want to pitch it to kids. Like what about I wouldn't mind a CBeebies Doctor Who, like Search Out Science, where K9 teaches toddlers about Saturn.
Yeah, like why not?
That sounds I'm doing that.
That's it. That's your next.
I'm copywriting that right now. That's my idea. Bob Baker, you can't have it.
Yeah, it is very odd. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Is it going to be just like kids trying to lose their virginity, but at the same time trying to fight monsters? Like, I really want to go into that off license and buy some booze. I'm not old enough. Shit, the Sontarans coming down the road. We better bandy together and try and stop them.
Or it's going to be like the in-betweeners. So you've got the one one character that's like, run away from the Zygon, and the J character's like, all right, love, how you doing?
Yeah.
You wanna shape change to something? You want to shape change into something a bit more comfortable?
Yeah.
It's going to be
practicing that.
It's going to be. Yeah. It's going to be.
For the Zygons, you mean?
Yeah, for the Zygons. Yeah, it's going to be crap.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it now. And the fact they were comparing it to Buffy as well. And I know you.
I like Buffy. Really funny. I don't know if Kat can hear me. We've been watching Buffy, haven't we?
Why are you shouting at Kat like she's an old woman in the corner of the room?
she's in the other room, that's why.
Are you hungry? Do you want me to take you to the toilet?
Sorry, they thought you were in the room and that I was shouting at you like you were an old maid. No, we were talking about this new Doctor Who spin-off Class that they're doing, and apparently they've compared it to Buffy. And Billy was just saying that.
All right.
That Billy was just saying that we like Buffy. You would Buffy, and we were just sort of saying that you can't compare this shitty spin-off to Buffy.
Is it on yet?
No, it's not on yet. It's coming out next year. It's being aimed at young adults.
Right. And what is it supposed to?
It's like a Doctor Who spin-off set at Coal Hill School. So the school that Clara works at.
So who are the main characters?
Well, exactly. Because Clara's not going to be in it.
Yeah, she ain't going to be in it.
But surely the point of the spin-off is that
it's probably just going to have some a Cyberman turns up one day.
It's probably going to have like some blonde girl that
it's going to
beats everyone up and stabs people with stakes.
Yeah.
And then we'll know.
Like Ridley was in it. Well, that'd make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe that's why he's appearing in this season. Maybe they're like, we've got plans for you. Come in, we'll introduce you as a proper character.
And I guess the thing is, he's not like a big actor. He's not like
who are we talking about?
there was. Can you remember the one that was set in Bristol last year? Flatline. With
Oh, I like
drawings.
that one. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
Bristol with an underground subway network.
Yeah, and there was the kid in that, and he helped them out. He was doing his community service. No, it's gone over your head. Well, he's in it again.
Was he good?
He was alright, yeah.
He was alright.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I've not really got anything to contribute, have I? Other than
Yeah.
Buffy's good, and that's probably not good.
That's it.
He's good.
Yeah, we like Buffy. Well, Matt, I can remember Matt. What was it? My mother was watching something on television. She was watching a Buffy episode, and I said, "Oh, this is a really good episode, this one." And Matt went, "Good episode of Buffy? Surely not." And then walked off, laughing his little ass off. And then I can remember. By the time we got to season 3, I forgot to bring some of the DVDs over to his house, and I'm not joking. He was wringing his hands. Where he was like, "No, I need to watch them. We'll drive back to our house. We'll get them, or we'll watch them on the laptop." This was how addicted he got to Buffy.
Yeah.
So,
That's the shame. The shame on my face. The embarrassment.
Don't knock it until you've watched it.
Yeah.
Genius. So many people are writing about it academically in my year at the moment.
Yeah. And the thing is, we actually owe a lot to Buffy with New Doctor Who, because that was basically Rusty Davies was like, yeah, if we bring back Doctor Who, we'll do it in 45 minutes and have a monster of the week, like Buffy. And they were like, Buffy gets us a lot of views. Fine.
Fair play. That seems like a fair enough way to do it.
Yeah.
There's no fandom for Buffy now, though, which is really interesting, because it is the sort of show that if it had been made now, it would have spawned a ridiculous fandom.
Oh, yeah, it'd have been like Sherlock and Doctor Who.
Yeah,
no, I feel Tumblr, bloody hell. It would be.
Yeah, my God, Tumblr would
but
be.
that's the thing about, like, would you rather have had Buffy as the cult thing it is now, or have it as the most mainstream, you know?
No, I like it as it is now.
Yeah.
I do like it, because
exactly.
you get fat random fans popping up, and they're very silent about it, and you'll be like, "Hey, I like Buffy. Oh my God, I love Buffy." I get really excited. You have a conversation. Good stuff. Spawned my love of horror. And that's the reason I write about it. Well, now I'm writing about it right now, like literally this second.
Yeah, she's doing,
in the bedroom.
She's doing uni work.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to go back and do that now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so
right. Yeah, you're going out of my ear now, so I can't hear you any longer.
That was guest appearance.
Yeah, we'll put that in the comments and the description so everyone knows that it happened.
Yeah.
Guest appearance during Cat.
Yeah. So yeah, that's class. I forgot that even happened.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to jump in again because you mentioned K9. What about the K9 film?
I don't know anything about it. Tell me about it.
I don't really know anything about it other than it's K9, it's a film, and Omega is in it.
No.
What? Yeah, it's mad. I mean, I said online, I was like, if Omega is in this film, he's never appearing in Doctor Who again.
Well, maybe would that actually ring true? Is that maybe something to do with the rights? Maybe they can't have Omega because it would be credited in the credits to Bob Baker and Dave Martin.
Bob Baker, yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is, he actually he lives outside of Bristol. He lives in a little village outside of Bristol because he was from Bristol.
I know his granddaughter.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I know his granddaughter quite well. Oh, not quite well. I acted with her in a few things.
See, this is because my uncle knows a woman who lives in the village that he lives in, and she's like, "Oh yeah, he's in the pub all the time. He's got like a little spot over there, and he lives in an ex-council house and all this sort of stuff." And yeah, I sort of said to my uncle, like, "Right, we need to meet Bob Baker. You know, get me in this film. You know, I know it'd be shit, but my brother was like, "What, are you gonna just be K9 and just going around on your hands and knees during rehearsals?"
That would make it more entertaining to watch, certainly.
Yeah, if it was just me going along.
Yeah, in a cardboard box.
Yeah,
like Snake. Okay, so we've pretty much covered all the episodes of this series. I think I'm going to wait to pass judgment on this past week's episodes because I genuinely have no idea what to think of it.
Yeah, it was a really funny one this week because I watched it. I went into it expecting I'm going to love this episode, and then I watched it. I was like, did I like that? Or
I had no idea. I couldn't tell.
And I rewatched it, and I thought, I think I enjoyed it, but I don't know if it was a bit just too heavy-handed with the ISIS thing, and
Yeah, I mean, I messaged you after that episode.
Yeah.
After the trailer for that episode went out, and I said to you, "Oh my God, did you see the hostage video with the ISIS flag.
Yeah.
And because that was the first thing that struck me. I was like, I knew it was going to be, you know, about immigration, and I knew it was going to tackle some quite interesting, current, sort of important topics, but I didn't realize it was going to be quite so obvious with them.
Yeah, it was like just like a steam train with it written on the front, bash you in the face. It was like, whoa, okay, all right, you're not being subtle with this. You know, it's not like we're watching like The Mutants here, where colonialism is like the undertone of that story, but it's nicely covered over with aliens.
Loads of sci-fi, because it's the fact it's set on Earth as well, and the fact that you've got signs up saying "No British" and that sort of stuff. It's like that, like that you can't disguise that. It's not even you're not disguising it, and I'm glad they're not, because it is a serious subject. It does need to be talked about, but it is sort of still the way going. This is Doctor Who, and they're like talking about
you
very
sort of
important.
Is this really a Doctor Who?
I think, to be honest, thinking about it, the fact they had the gall and the balls to do it is cool, and I thought, you know, people aren't going to watch Doctor Who to get, you know, their political agendas and their political news from, but if it does bring attention to a crisis like the refugee crisis at the moment, then and it's very timely. Clearly, it was written, you know, a year ago, recorded a year ago, and it's come out at just the right time for people to start talking about this properly and seriously, which is great. I almost sort of, if they are gonna, like, it seems like the next level for this episode is at the end of every episode they have a little thing that says, if you want to donate to the refugee crisis, and they have a little phone number that appears at the end, because it's like a comic relief sort of children in need thing, where they're going to have a scrolling thing at the bottom like, this is, you know, about a genuine topic, if you want to donate any money, you know. It's like a Doctor Who political special, you know. It's just
I had something I was going to say and I was gone. That's really annoying. Never mind. What was I going to say? I can't remember.
I don't know.
No, it's gone. It's gone. No, that was it. I was going to say. You know, they thought, oh, we'll do that. You know, we'll really be, you know, on the line here, you know, on the knuckles about this, but we won't put it in cinematic widescreen because that's
it's
see the tone meeting. They were sat around right. Okay, so we've got Zygons as ISIS and immigration, and we don't want immigrants in. Yeah, fine. Doctor Who in widescreen, like a sort of, oh Christ, don't do that.
No, that's too far.
God, another Mary Whitehouse situation.
Absolutely. I want to very quickly talk about Big Finish.
Oh yes.
Very quickly, because obviously all the news just come out about, we've got the 10th Doctor audios coming out, which I'm sure. Well, what's your opinion on that, Matt?
I'm actually really excited. Even though I wasn't overly keen on him, and I'm not that keen on Donna, I'm excited just to see how are Big Finish going to do the 10th Doctor. It's just fascinating what the story is going to be like.
I'm not even interested. I'm just really excited. I want to hear
the trailer.
I want to hear that era. You know, like, that, you know, regardless of what I think of it
at the moment.
Regardless of what I think of it, I grew up with that era. Like, as like a young kid going into a teenager, I grew up with that. I was like, if I didn't know any better, that would be my Doctor Who. But I do know better, thankfully. That's my sort of like, that's my Doctor Who. So it's going to be really cool. Like, how are they going to get the theme tune? Like, how, you know, are they going to score it like Murray Gold? How are they going to pitch the characters? What 10th Doctor are we going to see? Are we going to see the Lonely God or the, you know, Jack, you know, the Oi Gavner sort of thing? Or, the arsewipe, the twat. But I've got a little list here. Now, I'm going to read it out to you.
Okay.
People who watched a live stream I did last week would have heard of it. But only like 8 people were watching, so that's been embarrassing. So these are the list of episodes coming, list of Big Finish releases from November this year to November 2017, right? And these are just the confirmed ones, right? So November 2015, Unit Extinction, and Jago and Lightfoot and Strax. December 2015, the War Doctor box set 1. January 2016, Diary of River Song, the Churchill Years. March 2016, Doom Coalition 2. May 2016, Unit Shutdown and the 10th Doctor Adventures. October 2016, Doom Coalition 3. November 2016, Unit 3. May 2017, Doom Coalition 4 and Unit 4. And November 2017, the 8th Doctor Time War. Plus 3 further War Doctor box sets. These are the ones with unconfirmed dates now. 3 further War Doctor box sets. The Classic Doctor's New Monsters collection, which doesn't have a date but is rumoured for late 2016, early 2017 now, which they've pushed back quite far. Wow. Torchwood, the regular main range releases, the ongoing early adventures, the Third Doctor adventures, short trips, and whatever else they haven't yet announced.
That is mad.
Our pockets aren't that deep, Big Finish. Our wallets don't stretch that far. I'm on a student budget. I can't buy all the stuff that you release. And when all the stuff was coming out, it was like, this is such an oversaturation of products. I don't know if they're even still doing the monthly main range anymore. I actually then had to go and check that they were, and I saw that the latest release was The Return of the Rani audio. And it's like, they haven't hyped that up at all. They've been so focused on announcing, like, they're gonna make all their money on pre-orders.
Yeah.
Like, but you can't base your business on that, because otherwise you become the video game industry, and then people do suddenly get smart to the fact that don't pre-order video games because they'll come out buggy and broken. You need to wait for the reviews to come out and all that sort of stuff. Like, if you base your culture for your company on pre-orders, people will get wise to, I don't know if I enjoy that. I probably won't bother pre-ordering again, and they'll forget about you. If you make it like, oh, you have to buy this every month as soon as it comes out, yeah, like that's really exciting. But to have pre-orders for releases 3 years down the line is crazy.
Madness.
Especially
it's
considering.
Never happened before.
I know, never. But you'll get this because of your comic book stuff. I'm sort of talking at my arse here because I don't know really the situation, but I do understand that with Sony owning the Spider-Man franchise, they had to do something with the franchise, otherwise they were going to get it taken off of them.
Use the right. Yeah.
So maybe BBC Worldwide were like, we'll give you the new series license, but you have to make a shit ton of money for us. Otherwise, it's not financially viable for us to give you the 10th Doctor and all the associated logos and branding and all that sort of stuff that comes with it. So maybe they were given it and they went, right, let's just make as much stuff as possible and then release it, create a buzz, and then they'll have to keep renewing it, even if nothing comes out by the time that the license is up. Like, they'll have to keep renewing it and renewing it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does sound a bit like, shit, let's just do everything, every possible thing. Like that Churchill Years box set.
Yeah, no one's going to buy that.
No.
You're going to have stuff that loses out.
Yeah.
Because... Oh, and stuff's going to get lost in the shuffle. Like, I didn't realise that the new Enemies Classic Doctors box set had been pushed back.
No, did I? Until you just said, I thought it was coming out next year.
Well, it's at the moment it hasn't got a date, but if you look on the Big Finish website, it's like between stuff. It's not like right at the bottom TBA, but it has got TBA written underneath it. But it's like it's actually got a slot as opposed to just being at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
So it's rumored to be coming out around that time. So like, no one's going to buy the Churchill Year box set because it's the same. It costs the same as a regular box set, and in like two months later, the Diary of River Song is coming out. So, which is going to win out there? Would you rather listen to adventures involving the 8th Doctor with River Song, or Ian McNeice talking about characters we just don't care about?
Yeah,
like,
it's got
we've never heard of before, like
Christmas Carol Man, isn't it? Or whatever his name is.
Catherine Sardick, yeah. It's like, so what? Like,
who cares?
maybe they started out like, okay, we're going to slowly start drip feeding you characters, and you're going to start off at the bottom of the pile with Kazran Sardick and Churchill, and then if you're good little boys, we'll give you the 10th Doctor. And then if you're even nicer to us and bring us even more money, we'll give you the 11th Doctor. And then when Peter's done, we might give you him.
Yeah.
And then
we'll give you the War Doctor, John.
We'll give you the War Doctor. Yeah.
You know, I think that was probably the idea. They probably did think, let's drip feed them, and then something must have happened, and they're like, we're just gonna have to announce everything in one go.
I think the War Doctor is going to be huge on audio.
Yeah, I've pre-ordered it.
I think that's going to be their biggest money spinner. Yeah. Besides the 10th Doctor, and besides, it's going to be like the 8th Doctor. The 8th Doctor gets a new lease on life. We've only had one television story, or one story with the War Doctor. It's the same situation. I think the War Doctor is going to be a cornerstone of the Big Finish line now.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they got John Hurt to do it.
I'm actually getting excited sat here now. Like, when's it coming out? And I don't get like that about Big Finish. Like, I do like Big Finish, but unless they announce something that's like, whoa, you're doing that? Like,
yeah,
I won't buy, like, the wrong Doctors, or the main range Colin stuff, or the main range Peter stuff. Like, even when they got Matthew Waterhouse back.
Yeah,
I was
even that
like,
that's nice.
Like, that's pretty cool. I might buy that. And the reviews came out, and I was like, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But that, that's the curse of the pre-order, I guess.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Well, there we go. A-up. I think we can call it a day for now.
Okay.
I think we've had a good. We've been here for an hour and a half.
I feel it now.
Yeah, we've vented. We've learned new things.
We have.
I think this has been very successful.
And we've had a laugh along the way.
And we've had a good old laugh along the way. Don't know if it's gone up on YouTube or not, because YouTube's being weird. But I guess it might pop up when I press stop broadcast. I don't know. So if you're watching and you missed the beginning and you're thinking, don't worry, I'll watch it on YouTube afterwards. We had a bit of a technical hitch earlier on, so we don't know if it's going to go onto YouTube or not. So we shall see. And if it doesn't, then we'll try and work out why it didn't happen for next.
I think I think we should make this fortnightly, or like.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be great.
That'd be really, really cool. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been enjoying this, people watching at home, leave a comment below and say, more.
We'd like to do more.
Great fun. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's good. It's a good laugh. Good laugh. Right. Well, so it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Yeah, I can't remember where it is.
Oh, you start it. That's fine.
What do I say? I can't. Like, that's what I'm saying. I can't remember. If it's goodbye from me. Is it?
Goodbye from me, and goodbye from him.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Goodbye from me. Okay. Yeah. I'll do it again. Right.
We've done it now. We've done it. No, it's not going to happen. We've ruined it. We botched it. Remember, Matt. Remember what happened last time. You have to end the call from your end.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be left on your own. That was really.
Yeah. Just
I watched it afterwards, and I was like, oh, you look really like. I felt really sorry for you, because you were just like. You sat there like, almost looked like a little Davros, because you were sort of like, you sort of had your little shoulders hunched like that, and you were like,
little Davros like that. This is Davros.
Yeah, like you preempted Davros sat in his chair like, I don't give a fuck. Like before, like months before it happened.
Yeah, see, Stephen Moffat's been watching it, and he's just like, we'll have that. Yeah. Okay, well, I will know to turn it off this time. So thank you all for watching, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheerio. Bye. Goodbye.